The government shutdown creating a big need in our community as people aren't getting paid and SNAP benefits are in limbo.
Nonprofits, other organizations coming together to help fill that need.
One of those is the United Way of South Mississippi CEO Kathy Springer joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. So it's been just an uncertain time since this government shutdown went into effect now a month. We are recording earlier in the week, so something may have changed as we get closer to Sunday. But what have you seen through the course of this government shutdown and how desperate have people become?
You know, when people are furloughed and aren't getting paid, yet they may still be on the job. You know, you kind of see morale breaking down and those kind of things. But at United Way of South Mississippi, we had a food distribution yesterday in Gulfport, and we'll have another one next week in conjunction with Hancock Resource Center and Coast Electric. But, you know, when people aren't being paid, you know, their money is so tight, and we are an expensive state for food. Mississippi is an expensive state for food, and so that puts a strain on families. Also, just today in my office, we've probably taken a dozen calls for rental assistance, and trying to find that rental assistance for the families is hard to do. There just seems to be there's a lot of anxiety around how everybody is living and working on a tighter budget anymore.
Yeah, fear of the unknown is frightening, especially in these times. And I guess it is kind of cyclical, but also it's the domino effect. It may start with food and then start with utility bills, then it gets into rental assistance, maybe your car payment. So all that is kind of floating around out there. But it seems like many of the food pantries and food giveaways, they seem to really try to fill that void as best they can, and you've seen that too. We
have, and hopefully if we can do something to provide the food, then maybe that frees up the money for the monthly bills, the car note or the rent. And that's just a little thing, but you know, when children are in danger of not having enough to eat, then we see it in our pre-K classrooms. They don't come to school ready to learn. They may come to school hungry. And no mama and no dad wakes up in the morning and wishes for that.
Yeah, the food pantries and all, it is an important service, but if there's someone who's not used to going to a food pantry for food, how do you reach out to those people who might be in need like that?
You know, Hugh, the first thing they say to us when they call, 90% of the time they apologize for calling. They say, I'm so sorry that I've had to call, or I've never had to make this call before. And so when someone presents to our food pantry, you know, and they say, we're hungry, if they're driving up in a very expensive car or look like they don't need it, we don't ask any questions. If they say they're hungry, we're going to give that to them. But and you know, it starts to snowball, particularly for those who are not accustomed to seeking help or looking for where help may be. They kind of wait to the last minute, and that's stressful. That's very stressful. I had a call from a young man this morning who is facing their lights being disconnected. So we were able to connect him with Catholic Charities, who will do the intake on that program, so hopefully he will qualify for that program. But it seems like families are in the position are robbing Peter to pay Paul, almost at this time. It's not a sin to ask for help.
Yeah, and that's tough for a lot of people. Kind of leading on with Hugh's question there. There's a pride factor involved. There's a, hey, we want to be self-sustaining. And it really is tough, but that's one thing you're kind of saying, hey, if you need that help, it is there, and it could be in a lot of different levels. You
know, not just United Way of South Mississippi, but we are so blessed in our local coastal counties to have so many great not-for-profit organizations that are ready, willing, and able to step up to help families and individuals in need. We are so blessed. Everyone is working hard, working overtime to get families over this crisis period that we're in.
Yeah, and it's a heightened awareness with Thanksgiving coming up in just a couple of weeks as well. Well, Kathy Springer with the United Way, thank you so much for stopping by and giving us some insight to this important issue.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining us on WLOX News this week. Hope you have a great Sunday and a great week.